Hello, good afternoon. It's Midday Live on TV3 with me, Efwa Tieku. The headlines this afternoon. Members of Inshore Fisheries Association at Albert Bosomtwe Sam Fishing Harbour in Second D protest government's decision to close marine fishery to all forms of harvesting in August. Committee on Illegal Mining recommends setting up of mining courts to prosecute illegal miners. Interior Ministry intensifies investigations into alleged unprofessional conduct by some Ghanaian policemen on peacekeeping duty in South Sudan. And on the foreign front, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki to visit neighboring Ethiopia on Saturday. We have details of all these stories and more in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. Now to our very first. Fisherfolk at Osu have challenged government to enforce laws on trawling, illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing if it means well for the local fishing industry. They told Peter Kwao Adato no amount of efforts will help replenish depleted fish stock without a total ban and effective regulative measures on trawling activities.
The decline in the local fishing industry has been linked to overfishing and the use of illegal fishing methods. Experts blame both local and foreign fishing vessels, in addition to the infamous illegal and unregulated fishing practices. In spite of high-level efforts to curb the trend, the unaccepted practices, according to the stakeholders, continued, threatening the survival of small-scale and indigenous fisherfolks with irreversible consequences for the future. A visit to the Osu landing beach on Monday, July 9, further confirmed the harsh reality. Here, the local hook fishing boats usually spend nearly 15 hours each fishing day at sea for their livelihood. One after the other, these boats were landing without any excitement in the faces of the occupants. And the reason was not far-fetched, little or no catch. Virtually every boat that landed between 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. has only a crate or less of fish for their entire expedition. This is against their daily average investment of nearly 500 cedis per boat. And the fishermen appear to know the cause of their woes.
The trawlers invaded every part. Every local fishing area is taken over by the industrial fishing trawler. How can we get fish to catch? We spend so much to go to sea, but we get nothing back home. Follow us to the sea one day to experience our plight.
And the Chinese people, they are killing us inside the sea. And we want them to stop working inside the sea. Thousands of fishes will come out from the globe. So if we went to the hook fishing, which we can gain small from it, but he will use the net to go and claim all from that area.
They also accused government of paying lip service to the fight against illegal, unregulated and unprotected fishing, as well as trawling.
What is important now is the complete removal of the trawlers. They must go back to where they came from, not just talking about it. Government need to act on this for us. We are really suffering in the hands of the trawler and other illegal fishing activities.
Others called on the fisheries minister to increase monitoring of trawlers at sea to help restore their livelihood.
Well, there's more protest in the fisheries sector as members of the Ghana Inshore Fisheries Association at the Albert Bosomtwe Sam Fishing Harbour in Second D are protesting against government's decision to close the marine fishery to all forms of harvesting in August. They say August is when the record bumper harvest on the fishing calendar is the most. The members are therefore pleading with government to reconsider the decision as it will affect them. Henry Erike J is our Western Regional correspondent and joins me for more updates on that. Hello, Henry. Good afternoon to you. What more can you tell us from the harbour? Henry, can you hear me? Henry, can you hear me? Well, it seems like we are having a bit of change there, but we will go back to the Western region for more updates on that. Let's now do some other stories as members. So let's do that story again as members of the Ghana Inshore Fisheries Association at the Albert Bosomtwe Sam Fishing Harbour in Sekondi are protesting against government's decision to close down the fishing harbour in August. They say August is when they record bumper harvest on the fishing calendar. The members are therefore pleading with government to reconsider the decision as it will affect them. Some of them explained they have contracted loans which they are using for the season, adding they will incur debt if they don't go to sea. So we are trying to reach our correspondent in the Western region for more updates. But let's look at some other stories as the Interior Ministry has intensified investigations into alleged unprofessional conduct by certain Ghanaian policemen on peacekeeping duties in South Sudan. Addressing the opening session of the second Crime Officers Workshop in Accra, Sector Minister Ambrose Derry maintained the action is necessary to identify the culprits for appropriate sanctions.
Some Ghanaian police peacekeepers on peacekeeping duties in South Sudan have been accused by the United Nations on February 24 of having been sexually involved with civilians at one of its protection camps in South Sudan. The 46-member unit was recalled from the civilian protection site at Wau and later repatriated to Ghana after an initial UN-led investigation. No further explanations were given by the police administration. The Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, has assured the public that police officers who were involved in unprofessional conduct will be investigated and punished accordingly.
We are taking steps to investigate all allegations against our personnel who went out there to work, and we would ensure that should anyone be found guilty, the law would take its course and the image of the police service will still be maintained. There shall be no compromise on that.
Ambrose Derry also hinted that processes were underway to amend police regulations to include sanctions for sexual misconduct.
Proposals on the way to amend the police regulations to provide specifically sexual abuse offenses.
The Crime Officers Workshop, the second in a series aimed at equipping personnel of the Investigations Department with requisite skills to overcome challenging trends.
It is incumbent on us to ensure that in investigating our cases, we have to build up the dockets so that the evidence that we will gather will meet the highest standard expected of the bench.
David Asantie Pietu is the Inspector General of Police.
The police administration, after an in-depth assessment of factors hindering effective police operations, realized our intelligence wing needed to be empowered and made to play its deserving role so that we can operationalize intelligence-led policing.
Participants were drawn from the CID headquarters as well as all regional, divisional and district offices across the country.
So let's now go to the Western region where there are some protests over government's decision not to harvest fish in August. Now, members of the Ghana Inshore Fisheries Association at the Albert Bosomtwe Sam Fishing Harbour in Sekondi are protesting against government's decision to close down the fishing harbour to all forms of harvesting in August. They say August is when they record bumper harvest on the fishing calendar. We are joined by Western Regional Correspondent Henry
Ghana
J.
Inshore Fisheries Association are protesting government decision to place a ban on the marine fishery, which will halt all forms of harvesting in August. According to them, they've contracted several loans, so if government asks them not to go to sea, it will affect their ability to pay back the loans. I have with me some of the members, especially the fishers who are women, and I want to interact with them exactly what their concerns are. Mpocho, uho nyabadi.
Mahau, efalankwa. Efalankwa. Oje, yeah, oje. Yeah, oje. Yeah, oje. Eja kwese. Ojo. Mahau, when you say, August here, what's my young copy? Apufuma mo wonkopui. Oye ya ho kase. O Sunday, ya wa January sanda, o Captain December mumu na August niti na odade nyi dzifo. Ena teteka asom wa frano Maura na se kiranye de. O chira mpon yankopon o ranam o de gwapum ena o ra enam dugu bakam e shitinim ena o sesi eziban na eziban no yeye ma yadze nam ne ka eziban no na yezi na elba season ya no August de o ye difu de ma yanko yamba mpon na ye be den benyina akoba bosia o de ya pujuma from January to be and Namambem into a shadow, yes, papa, no, the Chiana cow, and I feel what by the day. Augusta, Yanamada Obaye, Jumano, no way Chiana Cono, was my monko, and my issue Yajibi. On them the Yakunum, where Jumaya Yanin, Yaji, Lona, and Yan Shady Chayam by your school fees. I'm as Augusti, a punam and Namanoba, ye tum, ye de Chiaco.
Also, etona de were mpano hade aba kwando na oba ho for tapunuma
ma so e kwano oba ho me de aha na me ye adwuma mo ku na ewu mi kita amaframa sama ba moto ankaka akra na mo so moto na made hwamemba me pede ya me bo ama mo so mo hwamemba mo wonya zibiu ye na se wakada ma mo wonkwa ye beda ya hwo yemba ye beda ye nya bi ntasra na yesre wo fa cha ye na emo membri pam da ma agasi mu nua no wakada agasi na adwuma na akwado no yesre malam ye kura afo me nyukunu mi kita amaframa ss fu ma aka ji loan ti wan hwe na wo fa cha ye
also aba kwando na oba ho
amso ekona oba o mde mo hye mo fomo mo kitambe biara mo hye wan mbe bienin adam agasi na menye sika mutum menje bi mede adam do to ma aka ji loan na mede bi mede business say agasi se wan kwa menye sika meren mfuntrem loan
chairman what's there was say upon nsi enam no do little nti na wopede wo ye bibi ti there what them time ya ba am obiala nkopo ama epono wa dol o no kwar
I was on no kwar so what's was say upon za nti odo woni ntro na mo odo waka waka chain the sister crosses no wasam no waka chain na the sister da puru otum ete puru otum ye ha chedam bre na abane yin na so ti bia de dambo som no so August som no so aya za puru obotum eti emesi afo ye mbeyifo ye ne kejiji ska bank akasa akase ye anjo no the sister so dam zifu busum ya yerukui ona na yakopo na agasa na obo no pono o sizifu eti biara ye be ye bia yimdo August de o ye zifu na se chain de awa eze ka ono damambre no na etumi ye de na itua be se biara won ben bia no mi de emba wari bare we krasel etuko na woyinfo na abrabo no koye a ebompa no kote da o ye zifu a e de na iditi
o preka de aban wanyi wona nse wanya hihye biara
oni tira wo yan hihye biara ni sentin de sa aban pede oni yan hihye a ya won payfo am ye guntre wo secondary fish na abo o ya secondary fu am ye wo payin o da wo mama abazi azo fan krata de damimbri apuno obotum etanu nkofo ene won dwuno ho ya dwuno hu ya na nso abose na ya kwa minister o de e benade tene mbere nso a wo botupum no otum no yede na o cha hyemu be nyina e biara tase enti se mbere no swara na nyina yim da ya podoze yanko abeneze ye ni nyi bibiara.
So those are the concerns of some of the members here at the Albert Bosomtwe Fishing Harbour. Their main concern is that the timing is wrong. According to them, they are not so much against government decision to put a ban on fishing activities in August, but they are saying that this year the timing is wrong. They've already contracted loans, so if they are unable to go to sea, it will affect their ability to pay back the loans. They're also saying that there's a wrong impression that the activities are destroying the sea. According to them, the fish migrate, and all the places that the fish will spawn due to the oil exploration, all the places have been destroyed by the activities of the oil company. So it is a fallacy for government to think that it is their fishing activities that is depleting the fish stock in the territorial waters of Ghana. This is Eric Yeweje reporting from the Albert Bosomchisam Fishing Harbour in Sekindi.
Thank you very much. Now let's move on to some other news. As the CEO of Maslock, Stephen Amoah, has stated, the government is currently constructing 50 factories which are at various stages of completion. This came up after a member of the NDC's communications team, Seydou Fitir, cited the government as failing to live up to expectation. They spoke on New Day.
Talking about one factory is in progress. Over 50 are now in various stages. It's a process. Okay, the fact is that the NDC guys do not really understand the nitty-gritties of some of these things. So they think it's all about just let's display our ego trips.
The Chief Executive Officer of Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslock, Stephen Amoah, added that the additional 1% being added to the value-added tax rate will help facilitate the activities of the NHIS.
The monies that we take from those who are interested in this policy are not enough to sustain it. So government will come in. That was the reason we're using part of our
VAT and
VAT, exactly. Right. But now the numbers are going up. Prices of goods and services all over the world are going up. So the monies that are collected monthly or yearly to sustain it, there seems to be a wage gap that is going to create chaotic situation in the future. So you need to put in place contingency measures and the measures that also take care of it at present. And one of the ways is to probably add 1% to the VAT.
A member of the NDC's communication team, Seydou Fitir, said he suspects the NPP is up to some mischief.
If they are going to increase the VAT component on it and give us better services, we'll be okay. But my fear again here is that this government, they may increase it, get the money, and these people will put it inside their pocket to run an election and not to take care of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Now let's go to matters of the Electoral Commission, as the reinstated Chief Accountant of the Electoral Commission, Kweku Owusu-Eje-Labi, has refunded the 350,000 cedis cash fund he had in his possession. The Chief Justice's committee, which investigated complaints for the removal of the EC chairperson and her 2 deputies, also found that Eje-Labi had in his possession monies belonging to the Commission, which should have been lodged into the Commission's account. Now, the committee therefore recommended that Eje-Labi is made to refund the money or, in default, be charged with stealing. We've been joined on the line by his lawyer, that's Jerry Esiedu. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Esiedu.
Good afternoon.
So why was your client keeping money belonging to the Electoral Commission?
Very well. My client was only handed the money, the said amount of money, by the Assistant Director of Electoral Services for safekeeping, awaiting instructions on how it should be disbursed. And he was holding onto such funds until he was asked to proceed on leave to allow for some investigations by Yoko and all that. But immediately he was recalled from his leave. He has since paid the money into the designated account of the Electoral Commission.
But so were there records on that? Because if he was giving money, then there should be records on that to show that he was giving money for safekeeping.
Yes, there is actually a record. That is why when he appeared before the committee, he told them point blank that yes, this amount of money was brought into my office. I know that it was received from the NDC party for purposes of conducting their primaries in 2016, but I was asked to hold it for further instructions on how it should be disbursed. And he told the committee that. So the committee itself recommended on page 34 of its report, that he be made to pay into the account of the EC the amount he himself has admitted to the committee as holding on to for the commission. Yes.
Where monies, such amounts of monies are given to an individual for safekeeping?
No, it's not an individual. He is the chief accountant. And the fact is that he has a safe in his office. You see, the propriety or otherwise of the fact that it should have been in cash or it should have been paid into a bank account should go to whoever ordered or asked the NDC to bring in cash, but not for the person who has been ordered by his authorities to keep the money for safekeeping. The fact is that he was not in direct contact with the NDC party who was supposed to make the funds available to the EC for the conduct of the election. He was only in his office as the chief accountant, and he was asked that keep these monies in the safe, wait for instructions on how it should be disbursed. And he said okay, and he kept it in his safe, awaiting further instructions. The instructions never came until he was asked to proceed on leave. But once he was recalled from his leave, he has since paid the money into the designated account.
So is he back to work?
Yes, he has since the 11th of July
Thank you.
to work.
Thank you very
that
much.
followed the petition we wrote to the president on the matter.
Thank you very much. That was the lawyer of the chief accountant of the Electoral Commission. Now, on to our MTN video reports for this afternoon, and our citizen journalist this afternoon is Bright Bayelma from Dawa in East Achi municipality of the Eastern region, and he reports on the deplorable state of a link bridge which is negatively impacting on socio-economic activities of the area.
This is a huge bridge that crosses a section of the Denso River in a community called Dawa in the East Akim municipality of the Eastern region. In fact, people of this community are unable to access their farms, and students are not able to cross the bridge anytime it rains due to the dilapidated nature of the bridge. We call on the authorities at this moment to come in to help fix the bridge, to help economic activities to flourish in this community. This is citizen journalist Brad Bayelma reporting from Dawa in the East Akim municipality of the Eastern region.
Well, we thank you very much. You can also send your video reports via our WhatsApp platform 05514333044, and do add your name and where you're reporting from. This is Media Live on TV3. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. Let's now look at what's making the headlines in business. And Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslock, Stephen Amoah, stated that some politicians, musicians and private business owners will soon be hauled before the courts for issuing debt checks amounting to over 800,000 cedis to the center. He said the checks were issued by these individuals when the center intensified its loan recovery mechanism. Maslock is owed over 90 million cedis by loan defaulters. Stephen Amoah spoke in an exclusive interview with TV3.
Talking about recovery, 2017, put all together, we have assets. You know, we give out cars, loans, tricycles, outboard motors and stuff like that. We were able to recover together asset value of about 16 million Ghana cedis, as against about 6 million, less than 6 million the previous year. And then we did a pilot project, because what we want to do is to take away partisanship. So that when NDC is in power, when MPP is in power, we play with it politically and it doesn't really grow, if I should put it. So we gave some loans to some group in Accra, about 5 different groups. And trust me, within 1 year, we've been able to recover over 70%. We've had over 800,000 bounce checks. Can you imagine? And you know that's criminal. Over 800,000 Ghana cedis checks that have bounced. And some comes from politicians. Interestingly, from some from NDC, some from MPP, some from musicians, some from entrepreneurs in Ghana. And I'm using your platform to tell them that sometimes, as a matter of being ethical, we're not trying to be too harsh on them when it comes to this issue. But very soon, they'll be prosecuted if they don't come to make the necessary amends, because it doesn't augur well for us as a people.
Let's now look at some issues of ECG. As communications consultant at the Ministry of Energy, Nana Damoah has indicated that all legitimate concerns of Electricity Company of Ghana workers have been dealt with as government finalizes the ECG concession agreement. This follows the presentation of ECG concession agreement to Parliament for ratification.
The Electricity Company of Ghana workers belong to the Public Utilities Workers Union, PUW, which has been critical of the concession agreement under the Millennium Challenge Compact. PUW recently accused the Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, and the government of excluding it from the evaluation panel during the last round of negotiations that led to the selection of the concessionaire, Meralco Consortium, a Philippines firm, to manage ECG. Per the compact, the Millennium Challenge Corporation is expected to inject about $418 million into ECG, whilst Meralco will invest about $500 million as part of efforts to boost the capacity of ECG. According to communications consultant at the Energy Ministry, Nana Damoah, all legitimate concerns of the Electricity Company of Ghana workers have been dealt with.
The agreement that governs this entire concessionaire deal is such that it first of all guarantees that during the entire tenure of this concession, which is 20 years, no worker of ECG who will be transferred to the concessionaire can be involuntarily laid off. What this means is that during the 20 years, the concessionaire has no right to get up and say that they are laying off workers without the consent of those workers. So their tenure is guaranteed. Secondly, the agreement also states specifically that workers that are transferred from ECG to the concessionaire cannot have their terms of employment varied to their disadvantage. If anything at all, the terms can only be made better.
He indicated that the timeline for the release of the grant will be met.
Meeting the deadline is an ongoing issue. It has to do with the implementation. We've had a very serious challenge, for example, as you are aware, with the concession agreement, which now we've been able to smooth out. As it stands now, we should be able to meet the deadlines for accessing the Millennium Challenge funding. But it's an ongoing basis. Government and its agencies are continuing to work as quickly as they can to ensure that we access it.
The Ghana Power Compact would provide Ghana with a grant of $498 million to improve the performance of Ghana's power sector, unlock the country's economic potential, create jobs, and reduce poverty.
And that's it for business this afternoon. Let's look at some other stories, specifically on mining, as the Committee on Illegal Mining is recommending the setting up of mining courts to prosecute illegal miners. The recommendation follows the procurement of 150 drones by government. Speaking on 3FM's morning show Sunrise, Secretary to the committee, Charles Bisu, said the recommendation is contained in a proposed plan for lifting the ban that was presented to the President.
The government placed orders for the purchase of 200 drones, but managed to secure 150 of them. The remaining 50 is expected in soon. Total cost for the drones is close to $1 million. Government has since placed a ban on illegal mining because of the damage to water bodies. Secretary to the Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bisu, who spoke on 3FM's morning show Sunrise, said the arrival of the drones is a major boost to the work of Operation Vanguard.
We have about 150 now. There's more on its way coming. And as I speak, last week, Operation Vanguard personnel, about 20 of them approximately, were trained at George Grant University of Mines and Technology. This week, today, that they conclude today, the Minerals Commission also sent their personnel there to be trained. Next week, we're sending 120 NAPCO graduates under Digital Ghana to George Grant University of Mines and Technology to be trained on these drones. They are the ones who are going to be doing that, but you need a civil aviation license. So basically this training is to prepare them to write a civil aviation exam, because you cannot fly a drone without civil aviation license.
a new software, Galam Stop, which would enable all agencies, including the Presidency, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the owners of concessions, to monitor the activities of miners.
And we're going to lift the corporate veil. If I say the corporate veil, when the illegality is being performed there, we will look for the directors. So all the photographs of the directors will be on the Galam Stop. So it's a huge thing that has brought all the agencies together, and it has a tool, it has a tracking device for this, the monitoring team, whenever they go on site to monitor.
Meanwhile, the operations director of small-scale miners, Emmanuel Yerentry, has welcomed the concept for using drones.
Once we have technology such as the drone, it comes in to supplement what the enforcement agencies and the regulatory agencies have been doing. We have been told that very soon the roadmap towards lifting of the ban will be launched and published by the government, and that's what we are waiting for.
The drones would be deployed soon to district assemblies to monitor the activities of illegal mining.
Spokesperson for a group calling itself the Concerned Citizens of the Etiwa Landscape has raised concerns about plans by government to mine bauxite in the Etiwa Forest Reserve. Members of the group believe there is so much to lose if bauxite mining is undertaken in the forest compared to the value of the bauxite. He spoke to the media when a section of the citizens stormed the forest to drum home their resolve to protect the forest.
The group believes some 3 river bodies, namely Ayensu, Densu and Birim, that supply parts of the country and the capital Accra with water, will be affected if mining of bauxite is allowed in the forest.
Obuasi is an apology of a community with gold production second to South Africa on the continent. And the government has had to draw its might in the effort to salvage Obuasi mines. We stand for and support for the long-term conservation of the Etiwa Forest Range as a national park and a heritage site. As concerned citizens of this landscape, we have embarked on a series of advocacy actions and activities to urge the government to rescind its decision to carry out the mining of bauxite in the Etiwa Forest.
The concerned citizens of Etiwa Landscape further urge government to abort its decision to mine bauxite in the Etiwa Forest Reserve, saying water supply to over 5 million people will be affected.
Mr. President, as concerned citizens, we are not against any developmental agenda of the government for the area in particular, and the whole country in general. We of the concerned citizens of the Etiwa Landscape beg to differ. In as much as we support the President's plans to exploit the bauxite resources of this country, we reject attempts to target Etiwa Forest, which is our heritage and source of water for over 7 municipalities and district assemblies in the East region, and specifically providing water to over 5 million Ghanaians.
Ghana risks losing valuable wildlife if bauxite mining in the Etiwa Forest Reserve in the eastern region materializes. At 232 square kilometers, the Etiwa Forest Reserve in Ghana's eastern region is home to rare flora and fauna, including 2 butterfly species not found anywhere else in the world: Milothris, Etiwa and Anthene helpsii. The game reserve is also home to a rediscovered West African white-nabbed Mangabe monkey, classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species.
So we are joined in the studio by Daryl Bosu, who is the Deputy National Director of Environmental NGO Arocha, Ghana. Good afternoon to you, Daryl.
Good afternoon.
Now, so you have mentioned that the Etiwa Reserve is home to some rare species.
Yes.
I'm sure the government is aware of this.
Well, I wouldn't say the government is so much aware. Otherwise,
they must be aware of this.
Well, we will expect them to be aware. But I mean, if you put forward such policies, then we would want to say that there has not been a very critical due diligence into really knowing what is there or what we stand to lose before even coming out to the policy to even target Atiwa for a bauxite mine. So, yes, I mean, this forest is so significant, it has been in the country for so long.
Does the government feel it is significant? Because obviously, if it did feel that it was significant, then it wouldn't be embarking on this.
That's a very good question. But you know, we have this thing about the political expediency. Sometimes you make promises that you are really compelled to to fulfill, and a lot of these political expediency promises don't come with due diligence. And we know that in the heat of the political, I would say, campaigns, promises were made. And one of them was the promise of jobs from bauxite industries. But we all know from the examples we have all across the country, and even also in other parts of the world, you don't really get so many jobs as is being claimed. So yes, we make promises, but whether these promises are really sustainable, that it will bring us the development that we seek, is another matter.
Also, the president is co-chair of the SDGs.
Exactly.
Has he shown a commitment to these SDGs, in your view?
Well, actually, that's what we are saying, because we really right now are questioning the president's commitment, because I mean, as I speak right now, there's a high-level political forum going on in New York, and looking at issues of SDG 6, which looks at water and sanitation, also including SDG 15, which looks at life on land, and this includes fauna and flora, and the management of forest reserves, and also 17 on partnerships. So we think that if the president, as co-chair, he is actually in a position to show his true commitment. We've seen him talk about even asking CEOs to join him in implementing the SDGs in the country. And we think that as co-chair, he needs to first of all show that he's very committed by walking the talk. And one of the biggest legacy as co-chair that he can give to Ghanaians and also to the world is for him to secure this particular forest reserve, which gives water to over 5 million Ghanaians. I mean, the biggest challenge to our development is the need for water. Water is critical for communities' well-being. Water is critical for health. Water is critical for sanitation. And if you ignore the relevance of water, or even the forests and watersheds that provide us access to water, then we are really ignoring a very critical development agenda. So we think that
you have done a lot of advocacy on this, going on walks and all that.
Yeah.
Government currently is seeking support to mine in that forest reserve. Will you be successful in your quest?
Well, that is also one of the things we've been worried about. We've done so many things trying to reach out to government, and so far they've kept silent. There's a non-disclosure pathway the government is pursuing, and that is why we are also not relenting our effort. I mean, that's why yesterday we took the media right to the boundary of the forest reserve to let them know how really serious we are about this. Underground, we know the government is also working in Parliament to look at the Bauxite Development Authority bill, which is now going through discussions in Parliament. The memo that accompanies this bill captures the issue of bauxite and where it can be mined, and that's why it's still on the list. And we have expressed concern with that even at Parliament.
So briefly, in all your advocacy work, have you provided government with some alternative plans as to how they can also provide other sources of income for the jobs they've promised?
We have done so much. We even met with the Professor Frimpong Boateng, the Minister for MESTI, and they asked for all the documentation we have, both the justification for the national park and the proposals for the alternative development options, backing it with figures and all of that. And we see that government has still not communicated anything on this. So definitely, yes, we have done a lot, provided the information that is needed. And even as I speak, we have a lot of organizations that are willing to partner government on green development pathways for this landscape. The opportunities are there. You see, that's why we are really questioning why you want to embark on a destructive, because you want to do bauxite mining, and it's one of the most destructive, extractive industries in the world. You are going to take off the forest, and then also that's going to destroy the water. And we think that that will put so much at stake for Ghanaians.
Darrell, thank you very much, and we wish you well in your quest. So Darrell Bosu is the Deputy National Director of Environmental NGO Arocha Ghana. This is Mayday Live on TV3. Stay tuned. We'll be back with sports. The executive body of the film industry in Ghana has launched a brand name for all its Ghanaian movie productions. The collaborative name is Gollywood, which was unveiled during this year's Ghana Film Summit in Accra.
The new name for the Ghana film industry called
This This year's summit centered on the theme, Rebranding Ghana Film Industry to Rebrand Ghana. The aim of this is to foster unity among members of the Ghana film industry, hence promoting productivity. Some key members of the industry expressed their views.
Okay, there's Hollywood, Bollywood, Nollywood, Gollywood. Look, the more we say it, the more we appreciate what we have. I've always been about, the name is not even the thing right now for us. It's about the work that is being done in the industry. Once the productions are of the quality that everybody's expecting, Gollywood will just take off. Nobody even would go, they change the name. No. The name should come with the quality of production that we expect it to be with. Once that is done, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to move forward from that. I have never been a fan of even a name per se for an industry. I've been a fan of the industry being cherished for the quality of works it produces. So once that is done, the name could be a secondary thing to it.
Gollywood is very good because they used to know it like Kumawood, and the Kumawood is only for Kumasi, and we have it now here for the whole industry. So I like the name.
Gollywood, I think it's all the same, but Gollywood sounds much nicer than Gollywood, so yeah, so let's see how it goes.
Well, let's see how it goes now. A wrap of how our cartoonist Tilapia captured the major news events of the week. And that's how we end Midday Live on TV3. For more news, do go to 3news.com. My name is Efua Tieku.